Awesome. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So I think it's working. If it is not, please let me know. Let's hope this one goes better than this morning's stream. That one did not go too well. Yeah, luckily there was like no one watching that one. So we're thriving, we're vibing. Okay, I'm gonna give it a second, let people, hop on. But, thanks, Mom. Okay. Just gonna give it a minute or so. I don't know how many people are actually gonna join this one, but okay. I don't know, I'll go another minute or so. I don't know, how long do people take to do this, but I'm gonna have to edit this before I put it on the website. Okay. I am gonna go ahead and get started. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second attempt at this seminar. As I'm sure all of you know by now, this is the Take Action project for my Girl Scout Gold Award. The Gold Award is the highest award a girl can earn and is equivalent to the Eagle Scout. Our task is to determine a problem in our world and create a sustainable project to help fix and or prevent it. In my research, I have discovered that mental illness is a big problem in competitive sports and is only just now being talked about. Just as a disclaimer, I am in no way an expert in this information, nor am I claiming to be. This is all just the result of hours of research and years of personal experience. I was a competitive athlete from the age of 6 to 17. Oh, I've already messed this one up. Okay, good for me. Anyway, I was a competitive athlete from the age of 6 to the age of 17, and have experienced my fair share of coaching styles. From coaches pulling me aside to check in and make sure I was okay, to coaches telling me that I was the worst skater they had ever seen, I've pretty much seen it all. One of the experiences that sticks out the most to me happened when I was only 11. After completing a series of moves on the ice, I skated back over to my coach, of whom I'd been skating with for a few years. This coach then proceeded to tell me that she would rather stab her eyes out with pitchforks than watch me skate. I wish I was paraphrasing, but these words would continue to echo through my head every time I messed up a move for the rest of my career. And I was only 11. I skated off the ice sobbing and refused to step back on unless she left, and wouldn't skate on a session with her again. This is one instance of coaching abuse that I have personally experienced. As I got older, I've had iPods, mittens, and even notepads thrown in my direction out of anger, been straight up forgotten about and lied to, and developed a fear response to the phrases, "You guys look tired," and "How do you think you did?" Coaches have denied me and my teammates water breaks and rests, and would instead make us do more run-throughs or suicides if we hadn't performed well enough that practice, many of which happened at 6 in the morning or after long days at school. Many people look at this and say, well, that's just coaching. If you don't like it, then quit. And that, my friends, is the problem. For me, these experiences caused an early end to my career in a sport that I would have previously given anything to continue in, and I decided to take up coaching instead. But for many, other more drastic measures were taken. These instances I have discussed through my story are what my coaches have crossed the line from strict coaching to abuse, and I'm definitely not the only one who's experienced this. And this is in a sport where we implement the use of safe sport, so there are obviously some blurred lines somewhere. I'm here in front of you today to discuss those blurry lines and suggest ways to help. So the first thing I want to cover today is what counts as abuse when it comes to coaching. Abuse can manifest itself in many ways, such as sexual, physical, emotional, and verbal. Let's start with physical, as it's the easiest to identify. When you think about physical abuse, you probably think about hitting, punching, physical harm in some way, shape, or form, and you're not wrong. Those are all examples, but there are a few more when it comes to athletics. Denying an athlete of water breaks or rest when they request it is physically abusive, and so is forcing an athlete to keep pushing through even if they have an injury. Both of these can be seen as strict coaching, but they can lead to long-lasting mental effects that are a lot more important than losing the championships. The next type I want to cover is sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is a pretty scary one because it can be difficult to identify from the outside. This can be as simple as an inappropriate remark made to an athlete on the field, or as complex as a whole relationship that the athlete is afraid to speak up about because they don't want it to affect their spot on the team. This type of abuse can easily be overlooked by law enforcement due to gray areas in local laws, but whether or not it's illegal or just straight up wrong won't change the fact that there's emotional damage being done to the athlete. For the last two types I mentioned, I want to combine them because they really do go hand in hand. Verbal abuse is when a coach uses their words to beat up the athlete and make them feel bad, and emotional abuse is when those words are directed at physical attributes like fat shaming or negative reinforcement. Studies have been done that show that negative treatment of athletes does not help them progress and grow in any way and can actually be harmful to them. Those same studies showed that positive treatment can be more beneficial in training a great athlete and is not damaging over time like negative treatment. Here is a video of this in action on a really small scale. Sec. I gotta fix it. There we go. Technical difficulties as always, but you know.
A moment ago, we made this volunteer believe she sunk a pair of blindfolded free throws, when earlier, with no blindfold, she missed 10 in a row. How will she do her second time at the line, now that she thinks she nailed those blindfolded buckets?
Oh, close! So close, so close. That's number one. All right, keep it going, keep it going. Oh!
She's definitely getting closer, but no baskets yet.
You got this, you got this, you got this.
Yes!
Oh, you.
Wow. By making her think she sank those blindfolded shots, and by cheering and giving her positive reinforcement, it's almost like we hacked her self-confidence and got her to believe more in her natural abilities. In fact, out of 10 shots this time around, she ended up making 4. Quite an improvement. But what if one of our volunteers was already good at basketball? Whoa, this guy's got game. He made a whopping 9 shots from the line. Think there's anything we could do to make him worse?
Okay. So let's have you take 1 shot. All right? You think you can do it, guys? All right, Josh, let's give it a shot. 3, 2, 1. Not quite, but it's all right. Let's let him try a second time. It's a tough one. All right.
Wow.
Let's give it a shot, Josh. Hey. All right. Well, look, the man is blind. Okay, let's go ahead and take off the blindfold. So listen, it wasn't as easy as we thought, but let's have you do your 10 throws again without the blindfold.
Okay.
Just do your thing. 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10.
Okay. All right, let's see.
You guys got his A game on? Come on, Josh. Whoa. All right, Josh. You got this, man. You got this. All right, that's 2.
Remember, this guy made 9 free throws earlier, but now it looks like the crowd's negative reinforcement is throwing him off his game.
The coolest thing about this is that there's actually a scientific explanation for all this. In doing research for this presentation, I interviewed a psychologist who specializes in trauma, and he informed me that when given positive reinforcement, the brain actually expands and allows for more knowledge to be taken in and remembered. When negativity is used, the brain shrinks, thus making it difficult to retain the information being given. These responses are even amplified for athletes who have ADHD. Many coaches use negative reinforcement as with the false assumption that it works better than being nice. So it makes sense that it's often seen as the right way to coach. Besides causing the brain to shrink, repeated abuse has long-lasting effects on the brain as well. It causes trauma. But what exactly is trauma? Basically, when something negative happens all of a sudden, like abuse, the brain holds on to that event and constantly replays it to the person experiencing it. The development of trauma is different for everyone, and there are many factors that play into it. A lot of it has to do with how the athlete handles criticism and their personality as a whole. Some people take everything to heart, whereas others just pick and choose the important stuff. Other factors include genetics, family history, family situation, and a bunch of other factors that they really can't control. The same way that the development of trauma is different for everyone, the effects it has are different too. Some people may develop depression, others develop anxiety, and some may develop eating disorders, and others may actually appear unaffected. It really depends on the athlete and how they deal with negative emotions, but even if they appear unaffected, there may be some stuff going on behind the scenes. So what should you look out for if you do suspect that someone might be struggling with one of these illnesses? Since everyone displays distress differently, it's hard to give a definitive list, but some things that you should look out for are isolation, extreme anger or outbursts, extreme sadness, and sleeping too much or too little, sudden changes in appetite or grades dropping suddenly, a lack of desire to participate, and just general odd behavior or just something feels off. There are so many other symptoms of mental illness, but those are the most common to watch out for. If you do notice that someone you know, or even yourself, is exhibiting one or more of these symptoms, sit them down and talk to them. Let them know that you're worried and help them to get the help that they need. Therapy is the easiest way to determine if there truly is an issue and help them get to the bottom of it. But not all therapy helps, if that makes sense. Since abuse causes trauma, simple talk therapy isn't actually going to help anything and would instead make it worse. The best thing to do is find a therapist who specializes in trauma because they'll know the best approach. The trauma specialist will be able to use right brain therapy, such as music, art, guided imagery, tapping, and other techniques in order to help heal traumas instead of just digging them up. Mental health is no joke and is just as important as physical health, especially when it comes to sports. Athletics should be a fun way to learn teamwork and get some exercise, not just a place for an athlete to be mentally, physically, or sexually abused. No one has to suffer through this alone either. By raising awareness and educating people about the dangers of aggressive and abusive coaching, we can make sports a safer, more fun place to express ourselves. If you want to help me with this mission, please visit the website, the link is in the description, and download the QR code flyer on the resources page and help get them put in sports centers all over the country. Please share this presentation with a group or athlete who you think may need to hear this, all this information. The more people who will listen, the better. Thank you all so much for coming. And if you get the chance, please fill out the survey in the description to let me know what you learned and how I did. All this information, as well as the recordings, will be up on my website in the coming week. Thank you again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.